My name is Maame. I'm the National Communications Director of the NDP. We are about to start the program. Can we all be seated so that we can start this program? Thank you.
News that circulated before this event, and that was to the effect that the flag bearer of the NDP was on her behalf. I wish to state as follows. The source was, or the text of that piece of fake news goes as this. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an announcement today on Asiedu FM told by Dr. Konadu, a leading member of the National Democratic Party, that, and I quote, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, NDP, Agyemang, has pulled out of the 2020 presidential elections, and that's APPIAH.online.com has gathered. The story continued. It is believed that last-minute conciliation is linked to the demise of Konadu's husband, ex-president Rawlings, who passed away 2 weeks ago. Reports say that the NDP leader has informed the EC of the decision. Meanwhile, the party is scheduled to address a press conference later today. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is fake news and should be treated as such. Our leader has not had any link to that effect. So please, this is what we had earlier on spoken about. That in fact, our detractors have their own wishful thinking, which we must not glorify. They run around with this wild piece of fake news today, and I've had, I would say, lots and lots of calls. And my only answer to such calls is that please do not let us glorify, this piece of fake news. So please, to all media outlets who had such a reaction from me, I will just ask for your pardon. And that, we had no other way but to answer, or respond to this fake news in the way I did. Thank you very much. Friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to begin by thanking you all for honoring the invitation to cover this press conference. This is a time of great sorrow of our party, the NDP. As you are all aware, His Excellency Flight Lieutenant Rawlings passed away on November 12th. He was the longest serving president in the history of Ghana, the founder of the Fourth Republic, and the spouse and life partner of Mrs. Rawlings, former First Lady, founder of the 31st Women's Movement and presidential candidate of our great party, the NDP. May I request you respectfully to rise as we observe a minute silence in honor of the former president, our fallen hero. Please. Thank you very much. Thank you. May his soul rest in perfect peace. In the wake of President Rawlings' demise, his family has asked for privacy as they prepare to put him to rest. However, this press conference of the National Democratic Party has become necessary for 3 main reasons. First, to offer our support to Mrs. Rawlings, spouse of the late president and the flag bearer of the National Democratic Party. Second, to set the stage for true killers and believers of Rawlings to reflect on his ideals and legacy. And third, to remind Ghanaians and those who love Rawlings and stood with him all through the years, through thick and thin, to beware of those who turned their backs on President Rawlings when he was alive, and yet shockingly now seek to generate political advantage from his demise. Support for Mrs. Rawlings and the family. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, with the passing of President Rawlings, our supporters and sympathizers have been asking the executives of our party whether a presidential candidate has the strength to continue as flag bearer, considering the natural state of distress. We, the executive, in keeping with tradition, have not broached this discussion with her, as we know and understand that she needs time and space to grieve, and it will be insensitive to have opened up this topic. We intend to meet with her before the end of this week to have this conversation with her, and we will inform our members, supporters, and the general public of the outcome in due course. However, it is our wish that she would gather the strength to lead our party. We would like to inform the general public that our campaign is still ongoing, and our parliamentary candidates are out there canvassing for votes, and our regional and constituency executives, as well as supporters and sympathizers, are still campaigning and should remain resolute. Indeed, we intend not to glorify the well wishes of our detractors. Friends of the media, the story of General Rawlings is inseparable from that of his wife and our leader, Konadu Rawlings. She is the mother of his children. She is his love, his friend, his soulmate, his partner, his pillar, his counselor, and his defender. And he too was all these and more to her. Their hopes and their fears were shared, and together they shaped his political life and his impact on our dear country. She believed in him, and he believed in her. They believed in and held on to each other without reservation. Their loyalty to each other was there for all to see. They began their lives together as teenagers at Achimota School almost 16 years ago. They embraced each other in spite of any shortcomings they might have seen in each other. Over the years, some people came and went. Some went and came. But through it all, Nana Konadu stood by Jerry John Rawlings. They survived near-death experiences during the tumultuous periods of Ghana's political history. She stood by him even in the darkest moments of May 1979, when President Rawlings came close to being executed. She was with him through the events of the June 4th, 1979 uprising. She stood by him through the 31st December 1981 revolution, which culminated in the birth of the PNDC. And she was also right at the very center of the founding of the NDC. If Jerry Rawlings is the father of the NDC,
women's group that helped to propel the NDC to victory both in 1992 and 1996 general elections. Indeed, if there was ever anyone who embodies Jerry John Rawlings' essence in his absence, it is none other than Mrs. Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings. And so, we mourn with her in this separation. Therefore, now more than ever, Mrs. Rawlings needs the support of all true cadres of the revolution, believers of the enduring principles of Jerry John Rawlings and all well-meaning Ghanaians. We in the NDP commiserate with our leader and the entire Rawlings family. Across the country will fully participate in the national events to be outlined in celebration of the life of this great statesman. Attempts to desecrate Rawlings' legacy before his death. Ladies and gentlemen, some curious events in the past few days have come to our attention, which show clearly that there are attempts by some elements to desecrate the legacy and the name of President Rawlings even upon his demise. These acts are being perpetrated by persons who have shown a desire to constantly humiliate Jerry John Rawlings and his family even when he was alive. It is worth noting that these deliberate orchestrations to humiliate the Rawlings family began long ago. It began right from the period when certain individuals, many of whom were direct beneficiaries of the revolution that Jerry John Rawlings led, and the party that he formed at the peril of his life, felt the need to use their temporary hold on the leadership of NDC to relegate him to the background in order to capture the juicy fruits born from his sacrifices. They have tried to harvest where they have not planted. For the past decade, these elements, led principally by the Ahois and the Mahama group within the NDC, orchestrated a series of coordinated attacks aimed at destroying the legacy of Jerry John Rawlings. This they did by sponsoring political neophytes, JJ himself aptly described as babies with sharp teeth, to unleash barrages of insult and spew damning political rhetoric on the persons of Mr. and Mrs. Rawlings. Even the eventual ostracization of Mr. and Mrs. Rawlings from the NDC was inadequate to appease them. As recently as this year, Professor J. Nana Opoku Agyemang, the running mate of the NDC, wrote the foreword of a book by Professor Kwame Ahoy, which was aimed at destroying legacy of Jerry John Rawlings. Indeed, in the weeks leading up to his demise, President Rawlings made it clear to all those he had meetings with that he was extremely heartbroken that neither the leadership of the NDC nor the executives had made any statement in defense of the founder, nor to correct the lies in the book, Working with Rawlings. Today, the political henchmen who were utilized for such diabolic assignments have been rewarded with high positions in the NDC. And John Mahama and those who picked up the baton are also expecting big posts under a Mahama government. Those who produce forewords of books that cast the founder of the party in bad light are hoping to occupy the highest position in government on the ticket of the party, which was formed through the sweat and blood of Jerry John Rawlings. What did Rawlings do to warrant such disrespect from the NDC under the leadership of John Mahama? All Rawlings did was to be a voice of conscience, reminding them of his enduring principles of probity, accountability, and anti-corruption. Creeds the NDC under John Mahama blatantly disregarded when they assumed the reins of power. As a result, they sought to silence him so as to prevent him from publicly repudiating them for their unprecedented levels of corruption. We are troubled that some of these same persons, upon the demise of President Rawlings, now seek to lead in mourning the man. They have begun to shed crocodile tears. They spent thousands of dollars to sponsor videos made in Washington, D.C. by one Kelvin Taylor, who is tipped to be information minister in the event of a Mahama comeback, to insult President Rawlings in words, some of which we dare not repeat, and posted them all over the world through Facebook, WhatsApp, and other social media platforms. With the apparent endorsement of John Mahama and NDC leadership, Kelvin Taylor said, and I quote, "Rawlings is a modern-day Judas and a hypocrite. He and his sleazy wife are greedy. He behaves as a lapdog to the MPP government and always kisses the ass of Nana Akufo-Addo anytime he gets opportunity to speak about corruption." He also went on to say, and I quote, "J.J. Rawlings is not God. He is bad news and a modern-day Judas, and such a man does not even deserve to be a statesman. J.J. Rawlings is a coward. You are a hypocrite and a disgrace on the lap of a midget." These actions were deliberate and orchestrated by the Mahama-led NDC to hurt Jerry Rawlings and kill his soul, even when he was alive. And now, the NDC, which was fighting over a book of condolence, ended up restating their contempt for President Rawlings by using a reception logbook as a book of condolence at their party office. We want to serve notice that the NDP will make it a point to expose those who are making feverish attempts to rewrite their despicable opinions about President Rawlings and readjust their abhorrence for the man after all the sacrifices he made for them. And now, upon his demise, they are seeking the limelight for more personal political gain. How dare they? If John Mahama managed to profit from the death of President Mills, he should not be allowed to do same with the demise of our beloved President Rawlings, and Ghanaians should not and will not oblige him that. The hypocrisy of the NDC. When Jerry Rawlings was alive, John Mahama so desperately wanted to silence him. And now that JJ is no more, John Mahama finds it expedient to utilize his death to galvanize support for his weakening base within the NDC rank and file and the country at large to salvage his 2020 campaign, which is going nowhere. Suddenly, the individuals in the NDC under the current leadership of John Mahama, who publicly vilified Jerry John Rawlings, have rediscovered a new voice proclaiming themselves to be the true adherents of his ideals. Those who publicly describe JJ using unpleasant words such as calling him a barking dog are now hailing him. Why? In what was widely reported by media outlets in Ghana, John Mahama during the NDC's unity walk in Ho, in the Volta region in 2018, was on record to have labeled J.J. Rawlings as a Volta god with a small g, who did not deserve to be worshipped by Voltarians. In fact, he's quoted as saying, "We have worshipped the Volta god for so long. It is time to build a party beyond individuals. No sacrifice will please him." This was a classic situation where John Mahama made a futile attempt to turn Voltarians against their hero. It did not end there. Voltarians who felt they were going to be safe under the leadership of John Mahama were given the shock of their lives when Mahama deliberately sponsored candidates to remove all Voltarians from the leadership of the NDC during the national executive elections. Today, there's not a single Voltarian elected to a substantive position, not even as a deputy, in the Mahama's NDC. Today, the same Mahama who admonished Voltarians against what he claimed as worshipping of the Volta god is frantically exploiting the death of the same Volta god to salvage his failing political ambitions. It is too late. The most unfortunate aspect of this development is that, in an attempt to unduly benefit from his demise, the leadership of the NDC are embroiled in a desperate battle against the state and the Rawlings family over who has the right to conduct the funeral rites of the late president, whom they have so much maligned. What they do not know, or perhaps have deliberately overlooked, is the fact that they are robbing the late president of a befitting send-off. Or maybe that is what they want. They desperately want to reduce his send-off from a befitting state burial to a party funeral just so they can benefit politically. The wishes of President Rawlings. This brings us to the point where we examine the wishes of President Rawlings. It is an important exercise that true believers and cadres of his ideals must conduct, because honoring his wishes in his absence is precisely what is needed to honor him and his legacy. In doing so, I will ask a few questions that should get us to ponder over the man and his wishes. Would JJ have wished for the current crop of NDC leaders to conduct his funeral rites? The answer is no, because in Keta, for his mother's funeral, he was visibly pained and made his head known to John Mahama and NDC for turning the solemn ceremony into an NDC event. This was all captured on video. Would he have wished for Voltarians to support a leader who said Voltarians were treating him as if he was the Volta God? The answer is no. Would he have wished for the cadres of the revolution to support a running mate who edited and produced a foreword of a book that desecrates his legacy, and by extension, the legacy of all those who sacrificed for our nation? The answer is no. Would we have wished for Mahama to continue leading the party and driving it further away from the principles and values on which he built the party? The answer is no. JJ, in an interview with Kwaku Sechiado on Asasi Radio on 12 July 2020, categorically stated that he voted for his wife, Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings, in the 2016 presidential election. When he was alive, he chose not to be part of John Mahama's 2020 campaign, and it would be disingenuous to seek to make him a part of the campaign now that he's gone. Much more so to link his funeral to the same party's activities. So, ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 elections are due in a matter of weeks, but JJ is gone. However, ask yourself as a cadre or a comrade, ask yourself as you mourn his passing, ask yourself as someone who shared the pain that Mahama and his supporters inflicted on JJ when he was alive. Ask yourself as someone who believes in what JJ stood for. Would JJ want to vote for a candidate that he thought was not fit to lead the party that he, JJ, founded? As a matter of fact, Jerry John Rawlings was eager to see Mahama lose in the 2020 elections because he believed Mahama and his cohorts had departed from the very ideals of probity and accountability upon which the NDC was formed. When Mahama was elected as the flag bearer of the NDC for the 2020 general elections, JJ was blunt about Mahama's intentions. According to JJ, Mahama's intentions are not to win the 2020 general elections. His intentions are to simply hijack the NDC with his money in an attempt to show up again as the party's flag bearer in 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, we can foresee NDC losing this election, and 2021-2022 ushering in a new era for the soul and control of the NDC. That fight is inevitable. John Mahama has ironically themed his 2020 campaign a rescue mission. This is ironic because many diehard activists who mean well for the NDC are waiting for an opportunity after the John Mahama's defeat 2 weeks from now to begin in earnest the mission to rescue the NDC from John Mahama and the Ahoys. Our message to all those true Rawlings loyalists and disgruntled disciples of probity and accountability is this: join the NDP now and let's work together to honor what JJ believed in. Ladies and gentlemen, clearly, If you are a true believer in JJ, you cannot honor his memory by choosing a candidate who, together with backers, sowed discord between JJ and the party he founded and worked hard to discredit Mrs. Rawlings, his lifelong defender, partner, counselor, pillar, friend, confidant, comrade, and soulmate. As promised, we will call you again to update you on our presidential bid. But definitely, we will not glorify our detractors. Finally, we would like to the entire members of the Rawlings, Agbochi, and other affiliated families in Accra and Keta to know that they are in our thoughts and prayers. We wish to thank them and his wife and children for sharing JJ Rawlings with the whole country and the NDP. We thank him for his support for our party. Our final message goes to Mrs. Rawlings. We say stay strong as JJ would have liked you to be. As always, his soul will continue to protect you. Thank you. God bless you. Long live the legacy of Rawlings. Long live the revolution. Long live our leader. Long live the NDP. Thank you very much. My name, I'm Alhaji Mohammed Frempong, the General Secretary of NDP. Hello? My name is Alhaji Mohammed Frempong, the General Secretary of National Democratic Party. But as a matter of fact, NDP, we have General Secretaries with the title Secretary General. So I am indeed the Secretary General of the National Democratic Party. Thank you very much. People to continue to build it up. Ghana money. Now, and now say our Mukawa a chain wo I find people with sharp teeth. Bibia anymore. Enti say oman panyin bi ba na ne tiri mo po eboa oman anya de ya sumdwe a yenya no emfie aduonu enwotwe no enye ade a ewo se yetoto nase na yesaka biom se yema panyin dada ene nkofo bi di nkita ho wa buruchire se yenidi oman panyin a wonya ne bibia ko na tem ene ho ne manema ai samokaya o kan se enkola bi efifiri sin atenten a omukawa a chain wowo a your friend people with sharp teeth you know your man panyin ekan ene ebibukura kan se o wo ye kraman ya wo bubombo no mo achechire no enti na sankofo ya biem ebe san omo echi abeka se ejewu omo tu a na eye sebisebi o elisu a omude edada Ghana man na enam se National Democratic Party yen ye ben ye Maame Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings ene na hukani a wafiri mu nti no ye wo enisuade hunu bi a ye ka se omutri mu po a omudi akekere oman no ye nyina ana se ye mpese obi betoto nase na emom e wo se nso hyase na anamompa a wo se yetuo no ne yetu nti revolution ni ba ye no sebisebio na ye mrante ne mabawa a ye frɛ cadres ye ne ti ye hu gu oman nim ekekere revolution no na yenyesuahuru bebre wom enti ne ye kan se obiara wogi Rawlings edie no emra ba se wodwen ho na wo se sebisebio papa no wodi yaw ansana wo kɔ ne krachi efa wono ankasa party a wotiye aye National Democratic Congress enti no wo se nyina ye ahweye na oman no enkan kro ene nia efata se nyina ye boa eye no ye kabom na yebedi National Democratic Party echi because na hokani nyame adom ye bompa ye ma no se nyame entune nkwandem na aboso a ono so wabo a se sia no obepese obekekere oman no obe efense etu franka amaye party no so no se nyame edini besiye na amagana so ediye yadamase.
Thank you very much, Alhaji. Alhaji, before we move on to the questions, you made a statement earlier on in relation to the fake news. By then, most of us did not get the recording. So we will be on cloud 9. If you can please make that statement again so that we can get the recording, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, earlier on, I sought the indulgence of ladies and gentlemen to say that there have been some wild, very unprofessional piece of fake news, in circulation. We understand. We know that was the game of our detractors to seek to scuttle this very conference. But thanks to God, you are all here. We read as follows. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an announcement today on Kasapa FM, including Star FM, owned by Dr. Konadu, a leading member of the National Democratic Congress, that, and I quote, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, NDP, Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings, has pulled out of the 2020 presidential elections. That's KasapaFMOnline.com has gathered. The story continued. It's believed that the last minute consideration is linked to the demise of Konadu's husband, ex-President Jerry John Rawlings, who passed away 2 weeks ago. Reports say the NDP leader has informed the EC of her decision. Meanwhile, the party is scheduled to address a press conference later today. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is fake news in capital letters and should be treated as such. Our leader is grieving and should be allowed to do so in peace. Our presidential candidate has not taken any decision to pull out of the race and has not been in communication with the EC. This is just the latest of the lies that the NDC has heaped on the Rawlingses over the last decade. The question you should be asking is this: why is the NDC panicking now over the candidacy of Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings? Why are they afraid now? It is the ghosts of their own misdeeds and maltreatment of the Rawlingses and the due reward that awaits them on December 7th, which is haunting the NDC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, thank you very much, Alhaji Frimpong. We are moving on. George, before you come in, Latif, please make it brief. Then we move on, please. Yeah, a follow-up question, I guess. Please, brief.
Thank you very much. So it's on the same Kelvin Taylor and the Mahama sponsorship point that you raised. You also spoke about the Ahois and former President Mahama setting out to, like Kevin Taylor, damage the reputation of the former late president, and today are turning around to be chief mourners. Is that really the case?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me tell you, in the book Working with Rawlings, Working with Rawlings, it is a book full of contradiction, and one that was, I think, a man torn between a dilemma. And that is, he recognizes that he was brought into the limelight by J.J. Rawlings, who saw some value in him. That is one. Two, but he described J.J. as not intellectual. He described J.J. as not intellectual. And most of the time they just heeded him. But in any case, they also believed that it is his vision which was infused into the 1992 Fourth Republican Constitution that had made Ghana stable, and that they cannot deny him that. Are you getting me? So that is one. You're talking about Mama. Mama moved with JJ. He didn't understand JJ. He called him an enigma. We say no. Rawlings was not an enigma. If you don't know Rawlings, he's one individual who exuded profuse humanity. He exuded profuse humanity. And that the hindrance of same made him act in whatever way to let it out. That is the man. So if you move with him for so many years and you do not even read into his character and you call him an enigma, you understand? There are a lot of it. So please, don't let us belabor those points. We've made our points clear, and we can go on and on and on. But I don't think we're going to stay here forever. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alaji. Alaji, me bisami se misano chimu. Me bisami se misano chimu.
Yeah, oh yeah. Koso.
Ye tie insamwa wabobosu nyina.
Okay, set by set is okay. Yes.
Ye tie insamwa wabobosu nyina ene sene NDP moso openia wenyane baby ko Rawlings munua. Na enema ben specific things ena NDP ede toto akwemu to honor the legacy of the late Rawlings. Na of the late President Rawlings, sorry. Na me kan ede account say sabri ya woka say NDC for ene Ora Mahama ebu na nimtiabra otiase. Na onyane baby ko afei na one march in honor of Rawlings nena se for no NDP for FA science and me say essay.
Okay, meeting Eddie Raymond Kuma from Agyemang TV. The question na me pese me busa ye man penida da watwem ye Rawlings. And nam say na NDC for who ne say woni president and what so his excellency na do dan kwagu fuado. Openasem. Inti genyanti yese ne ba ye Dr. Zinato Rawlings. Omo yese NDC for yese omo me fa kwa bia so na kola no oma kana hye na me ne o ka say ase bebi o contest ye protocol no NDC for emia no because of ne papa ne maame nti omo poso mo pushing aside ye nyanti na NDP for mo so manya sante na me do so bre.
So Alaji, yeah, we can answer this set of questions, then we move on to the next set.
Good. Nketia say, so he asked in Twi.
Yes, please. Okay. So answer in Twi.
Okay.
And the next set will be in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nketia say, what can I say? NDP. Yenso so die ne ye efa ye mampanyia wonya ni baby ko. Sebi o ni nyuma yo a obeye ya ebe danso. Chain me fan say NDC die no. Ne American say ohwa fia batu a ye komu no. Say ye tete nia amanfo frankatufo a omo aba emu bebre what they are coming with goodies, political goodies. Mema water every esro, mema milk, mema whey. And the issue is that and yes sufficient for leadership. Telling people say, you know, may no, these are not. And I want us to take a cue from those we call great leaders of this country. They don't come with political goodies. You take the case of Kwame Nkrumah. Oba can say, look, Africa must unite. I mean, as a student of politics, I would say his manifesto was Africa must unite. Now, he did it in fulfillment of that. Rawlings had some kind of a compelling action. He didn't come to Guinea and say, you know, and that is leadership. He was compelled by the real instincts of leadership to catapult himself onto the political arena of this country. No buy and social justice, integrity, probity, transparency, and accountability. This, for us, is commitment and competence in leadership. And in Yeka. Now, not people who will turn over with other objectives, what we call the nouveau riche. Almost say and the inclination is different. Such leadership is a pretense and opportunistic, and of course revisionist. Revisionist because it's not what they are looking at. What Shaka so okay, they may say. What Shaka may say. Look at a typical example. I know in 2012 when we're going to election, you have a candidate who says, "May the free SHS Beba." Maybe say, you know, that was his passion. That was what is in him. He was not in leadership. He was not in leadership. And of course, you know, others also said differently. So a constitution, the constitution says it must be gradual, it must be progressive, and other arguments say, we're talking about leadership of purpose with competence and impassioned vision. And now at least, you know, that leader who came and had no idea of what was in the past. Like Kwame Nkrumah came and said Africa must unite. He didn't know what Ghana had in the past. In the same way, when somebody was acting on the imperative of the 1992 Constitution and say, I'll bring free SHS. Now obviously gradualist, revisionist, progressive, these are the issues that we're talking about. We're not talking about leadership or political goodies, but at least people who are committed to a cause. Fortunately, people say in 1992 Constitution, yes, they want review, they want revision. The proper thing is that because we have not applied ourselves properly to the ideals of Rawlings, it is to say, you know, the 1992 Constitution is remaining into what we call, into what I call double ended political puzzle. I'm saying so because a lot of constitutional pundits, you know, have been doing some convolution of writing legislation as to how to bring about social justice, integrity, probity, transparency, and accountability. At the other far end, how to achieve participatory democracy is because you must understand the ideals of the man. You know, in America say, if we had done that, now the heat that we generate every 4 years going into an election will end. And it's more profound than just saying, say, ABC. So we're talking about a philosophical vision of a person, and you need a political party that understands it. It's as simple as that. Not those with nouveau riche tendencies who will just want to be opportunists, you know, come to be revisionists of an ideal. And the NDP definitely will do it differently. We are putting leadership over political goodies. And we think that leadership is sufficient in the provision of political goodies. And in the same style of President Rawlings, when he came, he didn't promise anybody political goodies. But at the end of the day, when electricity, supply in the country was barely 27%, he undertook, the provision of electrification in this country, hitting almost 90%. 90%. These are the ideas that we are talking about. And what we are saying is that it will be very dangerous to leave this country in the hands of revisionists as far as the ideals of President Rawlings is concerned. And we are very passionate about that. And that's the NDP for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alhaji. Because of time, we have to pick our last set of questions, then we can leave. Thank you very much. So, George.
Thank you very much. Alhaji, my name is George Osinvene. I report for Pan-African TV. Initially, I was finding it so difficult to understand the correlation between your flag bearer and why you are connecting her to some response made by the opposition NDC. But with your explanation, I'm through now. Now, my question is that, don't you think this your press conference will actually spark up another debate, possibly resulting to some insult to your flag bearer, looking at the current state in which she is? That's one. Two, you are asking Ghanaians to disregard the report by our colleague from other media station, that's Star FM, about the report that they submitted. Is this your concern? Is the concern actually coming from the camp of your flag bearer or the party's position that you are asking us to reject or debunk that particular report? Because you in your submission, you did mention that you are yet to meet her and then look at what exactly is going to happen. My question, I just want to find out whether if this is coming from the NDP as a political party or from the woman herself.
Thank you very much. Let me,
Alhaji, because of time, please make it brief. Okay, please.
NDP.
My name is Joseph Armstrong. I work with TV3. First of all, Alhaji, let me find out from you.
The hindrance of saying made him act in whatever way
First Lady
to let it out. That is the man. So if you move with him for so many years and you do not even read his character and you call him an enigma, you understand? There are a lot of it. So please, don't let us belabor those points. We've made our points clear, and we can go on and on and on. But I don't think we're going to stay here forever. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alhaji. Alhaji, me bisami say misano trim.
What they are coming with, goodies, political goodies. Mema water every esro, mema milk.
Ano. Oma kanashe and me no ka say as baby o contest ye protocol no NDC for emia no because of ne papa ne maame nti omo person mo pushing aside ye nyantie na NDP for mo so manya santie na me do so bre.
So Alhaji, yeah, we can answer this set of questions, then we move on to the next set.
Good. Netiani say so he asked in Twi.
Yes, please. Okay. So answer in Twi.
Okay.
And the next set will be in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Netiani say what can say NDP. Yenso so die ne ye efa ye mampanyia wonya ni baby ko. Se bi o ni nyuma yo a obeye ya ebe danso. Chain me fan say NDC die no. Ne American say wo hwa fia bato a ye komu no. Se ye titi nia amanfo frankatufo a omo aba emu bebre what they are coming with goodies, political goodies. Mema water every esro, mema milk, mema whey. And the issue is that yes, sufficient for leadership. Telling people say mayor way no, these are not. And I want us to take a cue from those we call great leaders of this country. They don't come with political goodies. You take the case of Kwame Nkrumah. Oba can say, look, Africa must unite. I mean, as a student of politics, I would say his manifesto was Africa must unite. Now, he did it in fulfillment of that. Rawlings had some kind of a compelling action. He didn't come to Ghana and say, you know, and that is leadership. He was compelled by the real instincts of leadership to catapult himself onto the political arena of this country. No buy anyone want social justice, integrity, probity, transparency, and accountability. This, for us, is commitment and competence in leadership. And in the now, not people who will turn over with other objectives, what we call the nouveau riche. Almost as and the inclination is different. Such leadership is a pretense and opportunistic, and of course revisionist. Revisionist because it's not what they are looking at. What Shaka was okay, they may say. What Shaka may say. Look at a typical example. I know in 2012, when we're going to election, you have a candidate who says, "May the free SHS Beba." Maybe say, you know, that was his passion. That was what is in him. He was not in leadership. He was not in leadership. And of course, you know, others also said differently. So a constitution, the constitution says it must be gradual, it must be progressive, and other arguments say, we're talking about leadership of purpose with competence and impassioned vision. And now at least, you know, that leader who came and had no idea of what was in the past, like Kwame Nkrumah came and said Africa must unite. He didn't know what Ghana had in the past. In the same way, when somebody was acting on the imperative of the 1992 Constitution and say, I'll bring free SHS. Now obviously gradualist, revisionist, progressive, these are the issues that we're talking about. We're not talking about leadership for political goodies, but at least people who are committed to a cause. Fortunately, people say in 1992 Constitution, yes, they want review, they want revision. The proper thing is that because we have not applied ourselves properly to the ideals of Rawlings, it is to say, you know, the 1992 Constitution is remaining into what we call, into what I call double ended political puzzle. I'm saying so because a lot of constitutional pundits, you know, have been doing some convolution of writing legislation as to how to bring about social justice, integrity, probity, transparency, and accountability. At the other far end, how to achieve participatory democracy is because you must understand the ideals of the man. You know, 18 Americans say, if we had done that, now the heat that we generate every 4 years going into an election will end. And it's more profound than just saying, say, ABC. So we're talking about a philosophical vision of a person, and you need a political party that understands it. It's as simple as that. Not those with nouveau riche tendencies who will just want to be opportunists, you know, come to be revisionists of an ideal. And the NDP definitely will do it differently. We are putting leadership over political goodies. And we think that leadership is sufficient in the provision of political goodies. And in the same style of President Rawlings, when he came, he didn't promise anybody political goodies. But at the end of the day, when electricity, you know, supply in the country was barely 27%, he undertook, you know, the provision of electrification in this country, you know, hitting almost 90%. 90%. These are the ideas that we are talking about. And what we are saying is that it will be very dangerous to leave this country in the hands of revisionists as far as the ideals of President Rawlings is concerned. And we are very passionate about that. And that's the NDP for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alhaji. Because of time, we have to pick our last set of questions, then we can leave. Thank you very much. So, George.
Thank you very much. Alhaji, my name is George Osimvene. I report for Pan-African TV. Initially, I was finding it so difficult to understand the correlation between your flag bearer and why you are connecting her to some response made by the opposition NDC. But with your explanation, I'm through now. Now, my question is that, don't you think this your press conference will actually spark up another debate, possibly resulting to some insult to your flag bearer, looking at the current state in which she is? That's one. Two, you are asking Ghanaians to disregard the report by our colleague from other media station, that's Star FM, about the report that they submitted. Is this your concern? Is the concern actually coming from the camp of your flag bearer or the party's position that you are asking us to reject or debunk that particular report? Because you in your submission, you did mention that you are yet to meet her and then look at what exactly is going to happen. My question, I just want to find out whether if this is coming from the NDP as a political party or from the woman herself.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me...
Alhaji, okay. Because of time, please make it brief. Okay, please.
My name is Joseph Armstrong. I work with TV3. First of all, Alhaji, let me find out from you, these words or this speech you just read to us, is it something that the former First Lady played a role in? Because you said a lot of things that suggest that President Rawlings said, such as you said he cannot wait to see Mahama lose the upcoming election. And this is something that Rawlings is not here to attest to whether he said it or not. Now, let me also ask you this one, quick one. Alhaji, Rawlings believed in social justice. He stood for this country in the most difficult times when this country went through a lot. He stood for the NDC, signed with his blood, brought the NDC into being, but you left the NDC and formed a new political party. The Mahama and others that you accuse today are still with the NDC, fighting what Rawlings stood for, but you left. Now Rawlings is no more. The Mahama and Co. organized a vigil. We did not see you. We saw Rawlings' son. We saw the daughters grace that occasion. You did not show up. Are we going to see you join the NDC after December 7th election? Thank you.
Could you please make it brief for us?
My brother, don't take the rain out of myself. Alhaji, my name is Kojo Agyemang. I work with City News. Alhaji, I want to find out from you. You're a great politician, and for that matter, an experienced one. Between the NDC and the NPP, which one is best positioned to implement the ideals of the founder of the NDC? Number one. Number two, this campaign the NDP is on may affect the fortunes and the chances of the flag bearer's daughter who is contesting, who is seeking re-election in the Klote-Kole constituency. So if you are here declaring that NDP supporters should follow, seemingly the governing New Patriotic Party,
No.
Hold on.
No, don't make that mention.
Hold on. Okay, you're asking NDP followers to desert the NDC and then
come to NDP.
Good. Wouldn't this affect the fortunes of Dr. Ezenato Agyemang Rawlings? If you say the mother is your founder, and then for that matter, by and large, you want the best for her children as well.
Thank you very much. Alhaji, please, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think, okay, the two others want to, please.
You finish with the set, please.
Well, quickly, I think I've answered this one, Klote-Kole. The point is whether or not the issue of fake news was a decision taken together. NDP works as a whole. We have leadership that works with everybody. And what we're talking about is shared. It's very much shared. And it's our desire to insulate our flag bearer in this difficult moment as much as possible. The fact that we are not raising certain matters from the public with her is also trying not to increase, that burden of having to grieve and also, at the same time, having to answer some of the questions that you've asked.
We have people called
Proceed. Alaji, can you proceed, please?
No, you have asked your question.
Yes.
No, don't worry.
Alaji, please proceed.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
In any case.
Could you please?
Yes, could you,
please.
if you ask your question, it's okay. Dr. Zane's role in Kote-Klole, as far as we are concerned, does not, prevent us or stop us from giving a bigger picture as far as it concerns the country. We are talking about a constituency, but we are looking at a bigger whole of the entire country. And don't let us take it for granted, the very ideals that we have worked through, to arrive at where we are. We still have challenges in the system, just like we have said. If we apply the ideals very well, if somebody, if you're talking about NDP and NDC, certainly, if you have one idea, I think I've given you this example, between, and I like citing this example, from a geopolitical parallel. I gave you the example of China and the former Soviet Union, who accused each other of the other being revisionist. At the end of the day, we saw what happened. So the ideals must be understood. If you don't understand the idea very well and apply it, you don't say that we are the same. We cannot be the same. That's why we are saying that we need leadership, to make the difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. We thank you for the... Please, unfortunately, we are working with time and we have to go accordingly. And I'm saying, you should understand me also. We are working with time and our time is up and we need to move, okay? We need to move. So what I'm going to do is that when we are done, Alaji will be here to ask you one after the other. Alaji will be here to ask you questions one after the other. Please, unfortunately, we cannot proceed. Please, unfortunately, we cannot proceed. I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for coming. Have a lovely afternoon and enjoy your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
$2020 the Mahameba, and the Mukele cross offer. I go for the banner with Beshebo 4 years, but now to the end of Bayo. 1 district, 1 scan the banner with Chairman family. A penny a banner said 2020, but we need a team crumb. Abanadi Mahamafa, Namafa, Mahamafa, Namafa, Mahamafa, Namafa. 2020, when you be on pre-cost, Mahamafa, Namafa, Mahamafa, Namafa. 2020 the Mahameba, and the Mukele cross offer. I go for the banner with Beshebo 4 years, but now to the end of Bayo. 1 district, 1 scan the banner with Chairman family. A penny a banner said 2020, but we need a team crumb. Abanadi Mahamafa, Namafa, Mahamafa, Namafa.
Man say I'm talking. Your person and your Mexico no. You trust it. You feel it and you Mexico no. Skip and be upon your feet as a chest. Mummy and can and I you. So far so good. You feel it and you Mexico no. Hey, for nana, for more for nana. 2020. Wait, now baby. For nana, for more for nana. Nana 2020. Catch your own set. For nana, for more for nana. 2020. Yeah, man say I'm talking.
Yeah, wow. Every and this is for car no, so see, and this is car Mutimoban every day. Yeah, nipa na go from say yo, every day. And this is car, but yeah, my God, every day, nipa mra me boa omo. Yeah. So see, nipa mra, Agyin no so.
Da wase ye na don ye da wase nana woni ye president every Sabbath time there sawa ye free school fees GMO amenamu nane ye da nana nim se me man o matwa the went to kwenya C4 nana free SHS yo wa ma ba nko bia wa ya hu wo kwatro aba na kanye wo se na do da number 1 on for yesika nsi dan ma Kenya ni ba o ba yesika dress ai o mu di kom di be tue school visa me nsu e dibi na ya dibi ma me dibi na yo didija enanimu na nam enti to aba na ma na Akufo-Addo to aba na ma number 1 esanse Kenya ni ba oni ID but on the team da wase ye na don ye da wase nana woni ye